Getting a PFA. I often get asked this question if I recommend getting a order of protection or protection from abuse order or whatever it's called in your city or state. I do recommend it. Is the process hard and dehumanizing to the victim? Absolutely. Are you always protected? No. But I do recommend it. One, it's proof that you have proof. That's why I talk about documentation so much. And if anything were to happen, you did everything in your power to stop it from happening or escalating. Again, does it always work? No. People wind up hurt all the time, and orders are always broken. But you know you did what you had to do to protect you and your family. So yes, I do recommend getting it. Again, is it hard to get? Can be, but documentation helps that. In my case, I went in for a temporary one, because that's what you get where I live. You get a temporary one that I think is a week or 2 weeks. And I went in after things escalated and he threw a hot pan of oil at me. I went in and I was granted a 2-week one because I had evidence of him recording my family, which they deemed as stalking, which it was. It's not normal behavior. When we went in, when I was granted that, he was immediately removed from the house. He was served and removed within hours. Then you have to go back to court and see if you can get granted for a longer term one. I personally feel that once you are granted a PFA or whatever it's called in your state, that it should be a lifetime. I don't think you should have to go back and fight and plead your case again because of whatever their stupid guidelines are. You've already sided with that person once. You deemed the person unsafe and shouldn't be around you. It should be for a lifetime. But it's not. And again, the system is broken. When he was removed from the house, he only could take so much because, they only give you a certain time and you're escorted by a police officer. When we went back to court and I was granted the full term one for 3 years, which is the max you can get in where I am, he asked if he could come back on a weekend and have an hour to collect his things. Now, this is where the system is very broken, and the PFA and the cops that escorted him did not do their jobs. So before he was taken out, he wanted me to remove my dresser from the bedroom, which, granted, I never was in the bedroom. My dresser was in there. I was staying in my son's room, and my son was staying in my daughter's room. Boxes were packed. There was nowhere to go, so I would only go in there to get my clothes, and that's it. Well, he decided that he was going to put a lock on the bedroom door to keep me from getting my things before he was removed. Thank God he was removed and I had access to my things. Then, after he was removed, and I agreed to allowing him to get his belongings, the cops escorted him to the house, and he was able to do and take whatever he wanted. He took the router, which then had access for me to anything. Cable, I had installed my own cameras so that he couldn't harm myself or my children. He removed the router so that I had no access to my cameras. He was watching us apparently for the 2 weeks that he was removed from the home because we were using the hot tub. Well, he didn't like that. So he, while I was there collecting his belongings, drained the hot tub. Think about that. Think about how sick that is. God forbid we enjoyed a little bit. He drained the hot tub while the policemen sat there and watched it happen. And they thought that was normal behavior. Why are you draining the hot tub? And there's proof of that. He drained it, put the cover on, put a ladder on top of it so that we couldn't access it. He also went into the shed, took whatever it was he wanted from the shed, and then put 2 locks on it that I had no access to. Meanwhile, the lawnmower was in there, different things were in there. Then he had the audacity to report me because the lawn wasn't cut. But my neighbor was taking care of it for us. Now, how did you expect me to cut the grass when you put locks on the shed door and I had no access to the mower or the keys? because, you know, that's sick behavior. And it's just the tip of the iceberg of the evidence that I have. So please, if you're going to get a PFA, please go for it. But just know that little things like this are going to happen, and you're not going to always be protected. But you know that you did the right thing, and you did what you had to and went through the proper channels to protect yourself. And anybody who knows me, my family and my friends, know that if anything ever happens to me, they know who did it. That's it. But you know that you did the right steps that you had to take to protect yourself. The system is very broken. Does it work for some people? Absolutely. Did it work for me to some degree? Absolutely. But you just have to take the proper channels, do what you can do, and continue to fight for what is right. And that's what I will do until my death, until my last breath. Because things have to change. And we have to be the change. Speak up, take the proper channels, document.